The Oarsman Faces podcast is now sponsored by TyreSpot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. TyreSpot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tyrespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the GallowgateShots podcast and YouTube channel. We are back. It is a live podcast tonight. Live. It's just gone 9 o'clock, boys, and we are here to celebrate Newcastle United getting halfway there. But I am your host tonight, Kris, joined by Deka and Iain, and we are just going to wax lyrical about that performance that Eddie Howe's Mags put in last night against Arsenal. Deka, take it away. Say the words, mate. Say them proudly.
Well, won you now.
Get it. I'm going to stick with you, Deka. I'm going to stick because you were the calmest man in the northeast of England yesterday. At no point were you stressing about Newcastle United, and you thought it was not necessarily a comfortable performance, but it just turned out to be one of those games for Arsenal where doesn't matter how many minutes they had added on, doesn't matter how long football they kept playing at the end of the night, they weren't scoring.
That's what I meant by being calm. Like, I mean, I think we spoke about on Monday that I was confident going in the game, but it's funny, right? Because I was confident, but I still said we'd get beat or would draw, right? So I was going in confident, and I said we weren't going to win. But I'm going to fast forward towards the last sort of 30 minutes of the game where it was, 5-5-0. Some people questioned the subs. I was just sitting there, like, just laughing. I was like, listen, they are not going to score. Like, there were two centre-halves, man, were just absolute warriors at the back. And what we did really well, I thought, was we were just allowing them to just cross the ball in. Like, they weren't really doing anything. And obviously, now I was seeing people going, God, I'm sweating. I'm glad that's over, or whatever. And I was like, listen, like, they could have been playing now and they still wouldn't have scored. And that's all the credit in the world goes to us for that.
I'm probably the opposite side.
I'm the exact opposite.
Exact opposite. Because that last 20 minutes of football, I was shitting my pants. Last week we were talking about people having the touch of Matties. I think most of the Northies had the touch of Matties because I was honestly cacking me pants through that.
Well, can I just before you go on? Was that just to concede one goal, or did you think if they got one, they'd get two and it'd be 2-2, or what were you worried about?
I'll jump in. I think because what we're coursing at certain points of that game, when we got that first goal, then we'll go on the second half and get the second goal. And I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, a 2-0 lead going into the second leg at home is phenomenal. It's such a huge result that I'm thinking, even if they get one, that's only the one goal that they need to grab at St. James's Park, and things could go sour at that point. But I thought, 2-0, you are laughing at 2-0. Yes, it's not over yet. Of course, it's not, but kind of is. But 2-0, it's such an important result. And Iain, there's been a comment straight away there from Callum that says putting that performance up there with the PSG game. Different performances, but the result last night against Arsenal, phenomenal. That's probably one of the best results we've seen on that Eddie Howe, especially with the record that we've had at the Emirates.
Yeah, definitely. I think I'd agree with Callum to a degree that it's probably as good as a result. Like you say, not necessarily the performance, but at times I thought we did. It was almost like the perfect game plan, very similar to Man U, where we had won the game very early. I thought we were picking moments to get forward really quick. Some of the one-touch stuff that I know we can do, even that was impressing me with how quick we were getting forward, and Murphy and Isak in particular. And then in terms of defensively, I had a massive touch of the Matties. Like anytime the ball was going in the box, although like Deka says, it didn't look dangerous, but I just had that thing in my mind where it's going to drop and they're going to get one back. So I was making all sorts of noises that Sylvie was looking at us. What are you doing?
Like, never made them noises.
Never. But it just, like I say, just to reiterate, it was a perfectly executed game plan where it was. Shall I tell you what it reminds us of? Actually, the defense. If anyone's ever seen Mighty Ducks 3, where they're literally like, it's like the court is like, oh, you need to clear out the trash in front of goal, and everyone's just throwing themselves in front of balls, and like, but I thought Botman in particular, because I thought he was a little bit nervy against Spurs. He was a little bit rusty, you could tell that. And I wasn't expecting him to even start, to be honest. So that came as a little bit of a surprise, but it kind of just reminds you how much of a Rolls-Royce defender he is, because he looked as cool as anything. Probably as cool as Deka felt in the whole game.
Yeah, I think a lot of the comments have gone towards the likes of Isak and Gordon. We will talk about them in just a second, Deka. But just to go back to what Ian's saying, that defense last night, including Dubravka, and yes, Dubravka may have obviously came out to try and punch a ball and fumbled a little bit at times, but clearing his lines in the meantime, that's all he had to do. This is against apparently the best set piece takers in the league in Arsenal. How well did we handle that? Like Ian said, just bodies on the line. There was one later in the game where Botman just literally throws himself in front of the ball, and that was basically the story of the night. And there's only probably once I'd say we got caught being a bit sluggish, and the pace of Havertz just completely wiped out everybody when he hit us and smashed the ball. Oh no, was it Havertz?
Martinelli on the post.
So Martinelli smashes it off the post, and you're thinking, as soon as that hits off the post, you're thinking, right, this could be our night, because we've been in those situations before where we just can't score. It doesn't matter how long you're playing football, you just can't score. And it seemed like last night everything just started to click into place with ourselves, and everything going our way to a certain degree.
Well, listen, you go away to a team like Arsenal. I mean, I think that was the first home defeat, right, of the season.
Yeah,
correct. You go in there without Shea, who people might say is our best centre half in regards to being calm on the ball, being able to bring the ball out, etc. You're then missing Bruno, your captain. And then I've also seen that it's the first win we've had when Bruno hasn't been playing.
Yeah.
So you kind of stacked against it if you think of it. So there is going to be moments in the game where you're going to be under pressure. So your defence, well, everyone has to be up for it, of course, but your defence have to be as solid as they can be. And I thought the entire back line were magnificent. But I do have to point out again, the two centre halves were just incredible, like colossal performances. And to reference what Ian said, we said on Monday night, I didn't think Botman would play, given he had just played on Saturday. So I thought playing 2 games in 4 days or whatever it had been was a bit much. But again, there was so many important blocks, intelligent blocks, where they knew the shot was coming, even to the point where I think Byrne was putting his hands behind his back and was just really intelligent, that they were making sure that every little minute decision they made was the right one. And it's an incredible performance tonight, like it really was.
Another defender that we need to give huge credit to, is a defender that would seem to be mentioned every single week, whether it's a match reaction, a match preview, or the Always Smile Faces podcast on a Monday, Ian, is Lewis Hall. Like, what a player he is, like, unbelievable.
For his age as well. I mean, I'll go back to the Everton game where the first half, I think I made a comment on he stunk the place out and got absolutely slated for it. But since then, he's like, how old is he? 19, 20? He just looks like a seasoned professional. He's just so calm on the ball. His passing's fantastic. There was a little spell in the second half where I can't remember if he got sold it short or he got caught on the ball. Dribbled it between two, flicked it round one, and then to do that in a game of quite a big magnitude for however old he is, phenomenal. And I think, like you say, him and Tino being the wing backs, that's literally our defense, well, our fullback set for the next 5 years or whatever. And the thing is, with him, he can still improve. But yeah, he was tremendous. To be honest, they all were. Looking when the setup defensively, there was 2 banks of 4 that was very, very minimal space in between the lines. Like you said, the only time we really got caught was when Martinelli went through, and then they looked a little bit dangerous from set plays. They could have maybe done better with 1 or 2 headers, but I'm sure the second half stats was something like they had maybe 13 or 14 shots and 1 on target. So when you've got stats like that, there's no real need to be worried.
I think we need to move into midfield. You've already mentioned missing Bruno being a huge part, and obviously it's the first win that we've had when Bruno hasn't featured and started, obviously being a part of the starting 11. Let's discuss Tonali's engine, because he is an absolute machine, and going back and forwards throughout the game, no matter, honestly, the last dying moments of the game, he is still grafting his arse off, closing balls down as well. And it's just, I'm so pleased and I'm so happy that it's clicked with him now as well, because it was kind of on the fence, and when you weren't sure which way it was going to go. Obviously, the partnership that you had formed with Bruno hadn't really worked, but obviously we're seeing in the last 5-6 games now that it's ideal, and that midfield three is unbelievable, including Joe Linton, that which once again Joe Linton last night just like the words I just don't have to describe Joe Linton. There's nobody like him in the world. I'll tell you that. You just can't replace him. Everybody talks about Tonali and Bruno, but you just can't replace Joe Linton. There's nobody that you can swap for him. But likes of Tonali, just what everybody talks about Botman being a Rolls Royce. What's equivalent to an Italian Rolls Royce?
Yeah, no, it's
Ferrari. He's a Ferrari in the midfield, isn't he?
No, he is, and I think he's another one that seems to play. I'm going to, you mentioned Hall in terms of composure and being not really worried in any moment. I find Tonali's the same. Like, he's just not. But I say not bothered. Of course, he's bothered, but his appearance gives that, like, it's fine. Like, I've been here before. Like, it's not an issue. And I think that the battle we had, and it isn't just this change. There's other things that have happened within the team. But when we were playing Bruno and Tonali, Tonali was the one playing a little bit further up the field, and that balance just didn't seem to look right. But even though Tonali is playing the defensive midfield role, you still see him bursting forward, right? Like, he's still getting forward. Like, come back to the engine that you mentioned. Like, he has a Ferrari engine, like, do you know what I mean? Because he is absolutely all over the field. I love about him, when Bruno was in that position, I found Bruno would hold on to the ball too long. What I love about Tonali is generally speaking, sometimes it's a one-touch pass where he'll receive it and bang, it'll go, and then that keeps the momentum of the move going. Whereas when Bruno used to hold on to the ball too long, not just about getting caught in possession, but it gives the opposition a time to set up, right, and block off these lanes that we can pass into, whereas Tonali just keeps it moving. Again, though, I just want to mention Joe Linton. Again, like, I mean, he is just all over the pitch for 90 minutes, smashing into people. He took some whacks yesterday as well, man. He took a few big challenges himself. He is, everyone does talk about Tonali, and rightfully so, but the midfield wouldn't be what it was if it wasn't for Joe Linton as well. So, but that midfield three, and that's losing Bruno. It's nice to see that we can lose a piece of that three, replace someone, but still have the same dynamic of, if that makes sense, which is really pleasing to see.
Yeah, I'm just going to go through the whole team here. Ian, moving on to the wingers, and do you know what? Because everybody was so good last night. Everybody was fantastic. I think going on to the wingers, we'll talk about going in a bit more detail. But Jacob Murphy, just doing what Jacob Murphy's done for the last handful of games, would you ever thought we're sat here going to be undroppable? Completely. It seems like him finding his form on that right hand side of the field is just gone and coincide with what's happened in the midfield three as well. It just seems so composed and so relaxed throughout that team, and everything is just gelled at the same time. And Murphy, like, getting an assist like Deka's just said, like, who would have thought, man?
Yeah, I had a sort of discussion with my dad where he's not Jacob Murphy's biggest fan. To be honest, the jury's still out for me, but you can only call on what you see. And recently, he's been absolutely tremendous. I thought maybe he's against Spurs and Man U, he had a quieter game, but he's.
Did he have a quieter game because you're expecting an assist or a goal, though?
But this is it, yeah. But I thought yesterday as well, what I referred to before, where they were picking the moments to break forward with speed. He was very, very key in that. I think he broke through a few times, and there was a couple of balls he cut back that just didn't make it to either Gordon, Isak. But like you say, he played a part in the first goal. He played a part in the second goal as well, where Isak just drops it into him. And probably a Jacob Murphy of old that lacks confidence probably puts that ball in first time, but he has a touch, just sees Isak's run sort of the edge of the box and feeds it through that little channel. So again, another really good performance, and defensively offers you a lot as well. He's another one with an engine, and like you said, it's so nice to see all aspects of the team, all areas of the team just clicking. And obviously the confidence massive, and I think a lot of our players are confidence players as well. So the run of form that we've had, like you say, it's just probably down to the whole team clicking as an 11.
I think that is a really good point. I just want to mention what he said there about Murphy with that pass he set, like the second goal, because I thought exactly that. That I think the old Murphy there would either just try and head down and hit the line, or cross it, no real target, and the keeper just comes and collects it. But you're right, absolutely right. He put his foot on the ball, and that was a lovely pass he set that, because it wasn't an easy pass. No. It was a really good ball that, it was.
It was. Other side of the field, Gordon Deka. We've had a big question mark over Gordon at the start of the season, just because he wasn't hitting those heights that he had last season when he arrived at St. James as well. But once again, just like the rest of the team, the more games and the more confidence and that momentum that we're building, we're seeing it from him as well on the score sheet again. And obviously in the right place at the right time with Gordon. Like, he's reading the play very well. He wasn't happy, obviously, the Spurs game when Isak obviously sticks his foot out, tries to get the goal, which Isak has to do, and Gordon's in the right place, thinking, I'm here, I've got a tap in here, I've read the ball really well. Very similar to last night with his goal. Right place, right time. It's good to see that he's hitting the form as well, because, like I said, there was some question marks on if his head had been turned and all that, if you bought him and fell for that. But it's that dynamic of the front three, and that's not even mentioned Isak yet. And we'll spend a bit of time talking about Isak. But that front three in Isak, Gordon, and Murphy, like, I just, once again, we're just going. We just don't have the words to describe how well it's working throughout the team.
I think with Gordon, I know he hadn't started particularly well, right? I think people. It wasn't necessarily that we were worried about his performances. It was more so the attitude we thought we were seeing in regards to a bit huffy and, you know what I mean, that type of stuff, right? And that's why I think peddled this narrative of, is his head turned XYZ, right? But what you've seen the last few games, even take the goal out of it, right? Like, his work rate is back. His work rate, he was chasing every single ball last night, which was amazing. But what I've always said about wingers, I love it when they read the play and they'll try and get on the end of an opportunity. So that Isak goal, for example, he knows Isak's going to shoot, so he's getting in a position. Some wide players will just stay out wide. I'm going to mention my mate, right? My mate, I don't think my mate would have been there, right? He would have been, because you've got to, what's the word? You've got to be brave, and you've got to have the confidence to want to get in them areas to score goals, right? Like, and he does that.
You've got to take a risk, yeah.
You have, right? Like,
Man United at home last season. I think they interviewed him after I think he scored, and he said himself exactly that I need to anticipate where to be, and I'm always anticipating like the right place to be and get in those positions.
It's probably been picked up as well, though. The time when he's been away with England, before obviously he's gone into the senior team, he's under 23s or whatever the hell they call it. He's playing as the forward man there. He's playing as the lone striker and the false number 9 or whatever you want to call it these days. So he's probably picked that up from there as well, that I need to be more instinctive. I need to find myself in the right spots if that was to happen, because he's actually perfect at doing it.
Yeah, I think as well, let's be fair, Gordon's the type of person, character-wise, that is always looking at that little inch to be a better player and have a better foot. He's always looking at his own game and how he can improve, right? Was that 8 and 8? Was it 8 goal involvements? Is that what's called?
8 goal involvements in 8 games for Gordon now, yeah.
Yeah, that's immense, right? And it was interesting, right? And I will say this. I was literally about to say what he just said there. So I watched all the Arsenal fans TV. Well, actually, I did. I watched all of it today, right? Every single Arsenal fans TV video, and pretty much every single one of them was saying like Gordon and Isak just walking our team, like just and it's true, right? If you look at the difference now, and I am going to be honest, right? You look at some of the chances them had. Martinelli hit the post, it was fine lines, but we didn't have an abundance of chances in that game. It's just in them key moments, isn't it, when you need that bit of class, and it is the likes of Gordon and Isak that bring that to it. But I also want to comment on Gordon's celebration, which I thought was absolutely hilarious, if I'm honest. I'm not sure I don't know really why he would have done that, but I don't know. But it was amazing. It was really funny.
Premeditated that, and I love everything about it.
It's definitely premeditated, yeah, which I find strange, but I find hilarious at the same time.
I hope he does that from now on. Just goes around every ground that he scores at every opposition ground.
Copies
He just does
someone's
the celebration of their legend. Should just start with the Shearer at St James Park. Just start doing that.
Yeah, but absolutely amazing. And also when Isak went off, which I have to say I wasn't happy with, but it's by the by. Gordon went up front, and you can see the difference, right? You can see the difference when Isak's not on. But he worked tirelessly. Because to be fair to bless him, we were losing the ball pretty damn quick. But he was still trying to chase down the centre halves and trying to stop that quick pass coming out from the back type of thing. Phenomenal performance again.
There was one moment, and it was probably a couple of minutes before Gordon gets taken off deck, and you can see he was blowing out his arse. You never really see a footballer and a professional footballer do this. He was stood on the halfway line, kneeling over with his hands on his knees, like blowing, and you're thinking, he's done. Like, you never ever see a footballer do that. Like, show how knackered they are.
He's constantly. It's almost like he's constantly sprinting. Does that make every time I seem to see him, it's either on or off the ball. He's sprinting, and you've got to be incredibly fit to do that for 60, 70 minutes. You know what I mean? Because you can't do that for a full 90. I don't think anyone could. But yeah, no, absolutely amazing, brilliant performance.
It's probably something that we mentioned on the podcast earlier in the season, Deka, where it seemed like Gordon was picking his moments when he was doing those sort of dynamic runs and just basically putting on the accelerator to get in those positions. He wasn't doing it as much as what I'd seen in previous seasons. Now at the point where he's just constantly doing that again. Constantly.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And again, I think it's confidence momentum, isn't it? I think that it's key, right? And I think when you build, we've talked about Murphy with confidence, momentum, game time, etc., etc. Also, I'm going to say this as well: having the position of left wing, right? 1 minute where you asked him to play right wing, he would have done it for the good of the team because he wants to play and he doesn't want to be an arse or anything, but he doesn't want to play right wing, right? And he would have seen Barnes playing there. I remember Bournemouth not so long ago. He came off the bench and was scored a block, whatever. And Barnes was coming off being the super sub for left wing. Gordon wouldn't have been liking that. Do you know what I mean? What are you doing out of bed? He has me, son. So, Iain, you take over.
I thought you were talking to me there. I was like, wait, it's only 9 o'clock.
I love the people that were like just listening to the audio and just mid conversation. Just went, "What are you doing out of bed?" Iain, we need to talk about Alexander Isak because rumor has it, and this has come from a couple of sources that, and it has been well publicized as well, that Alexander Isak was greeted by Arsenal fans coming off the Newcastle United team coach to applause and basically fans saying, "Welcome to Arsenal. This is your new team." Arsenal getting a bit ahead of themselves, yeah? Then Alexander Isak goes and turns around and scores and does his usual finger point celebration on his knees.
Before the finger point, though, did you see his gestures? He was giving it the "you can go away" basically in a nice way. To be honest, my gripe with that is it's not just Arsenal fans. It's like Sky Sports themselves, like almost trying to like nudge him to, "Oh yeah, go and play for Arsenal, you win." But and I've seen a few interviews of like pundits, current players saying he's literally the best striker, all-round striker in Europe at the minute, possibly even the world. And I thought thinking that's surely like not at Newcastle. Like, but
I love how you said the world, mate, as if there's a league outside of Europe.
Well, that Chinese league, it's going to take off, I'm telling you. But no, like he just his overall game, he can come deep and link play up. He's an absolutely fantastic dribbler. Like, some of the stuff he does just amazes us, almost like a winger. He
had the centre backs shitting there every single time. It was highlighted quite a bit on commentary that they just couldn't handle them. These are two professional senior centre backs that don't necessarily slip up. They constantly, not necessarily bottled it, but they were in knots last night.
You could tell, like, it goes back to when I used to play like grassroots, and I'd come up with like Wallsend Boys Club or Crammy, who notoriously had mint players, and I would just like you say, shit and sell anytime anyone got the ball. But Like I said, he's dribbling, he's finishing, he knows where to be as well. He's not just a one-trick pony where the likes of Callum Wilson's more of a poacher, then he can create something himself. He has to have the service, whereas Isak can do it all. And sitting thinking about it, and then looking at the stats of that's 50 goals now, I think, in however many games. Like
I think it was 82 games. I think I could be wrong, but it's 82.
I'm sure. I'm seeing it. I'm sure he beat Shearer's record as well.
Can I just jump in and say he didn't beat Andy Coles though? Did you see
Andy
Coles?
50 and 50. That blew my mind. Like I didn't even realize that. But to hear people say he's probably the best all-round striker in Europe and the world, and then you sit and look at all the evidence presented here, and you think, you know what, they're onto something, because he's just terrific, absolutely mint.
He's unbelievable, and that's just not. He's how confident he is in front of goals and those instinctive chances that he gets. We've criticised him a little bit when he's had his time to think about what he should want to do when he's one-on-one with keepers. He's scuffed a few of those this season. But Deka's not just that; it's his ability to read what's going on around him as well. He's not scared to drop deep, pick the ball up. And there was one last night when I think he picked it up just after the halfway line. He just drives that towards Murphy, I think it is, on the right hand side. That's run towards it. And you think he just cuts everybody out. The ball doesn't even lift off the grass, man. Yeah, and if he's not doing that, he's on the wing and he's tiptoeing and dancing around people there. They're tying them in knots, and their faces are hitting the decks as well. He's just, honestly, he's such an unbelievable footballer. And I'm going to say that we're so lucky to have him, but we're not, because we are the ones that scout and we're the ones that put the effort in to find this sort of talent. And the media are basically prostituting him out to everybody at the minute. Like anybody. Like
getting sick of
Arsenal, this, all of that. And do you know what it is? Nobody can afford him, man. It doesn't matter whose name you throw into the mix and go, I should go to this team. Whatever. Shove that up your arse. He's not going anywhere. Nobody can afford to buy him from Newcastle United, no matter what. He's irreplaceable, not just for us, but any team that's got him in, you just cannot replace him.
Mm-hmm. No, I think this is where we've had a debate about if we have to lose one of our blue chip players, if you like, I'm sure you refer them that way. I've always said Isak's the last one, because there is nobody, in my opinion, in the world as good as him. I know people are pointing to Haaland, right? But Isak is a better footballer than Haaland by a long stretch.
Hands down.
You know what I mean? Honestly, last night, I thought about this going into the game, and I obviously I don't know, but I'd imagine he's read and seen a lot of this Arsenal rumours, and every time you seem to read anything regards to Isak, it's Arsenal, right? It's just, there was a massive thing on Sky Sports News, on Sky Sports, previewing the game, and it was like, this is Isak's chance to shine, and I was basically saying
it's like a trial for them.
That's literally how I read the article. I was like, it's almost your new employers are watching, put on a performance, and I'm like, no, it's so frustrating, and it is. Paul Merson sitting in the car in the middle of Aldi, he's banging on saying,
how's he got his car to Aldi?
That middle aisle's really good.
But he's sitting in his car park going, just go and buy Isak. All right, Nabal, I'm in. Of course, what the fuck? What are you doing? But anyway, I digress. He plays with an arrogance as well, though, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean? He's rolling it on his foot, and he comes deep, and he's arguing with people, and he plays with that arrogance. And I hate to say this, and I'm going to say it, but it's a bit like Henry in that regard. And I don't want to say that because it sounds like I'm, But it's just unbelievable. And he comes deep sometimes. He'll go out wide, as you've mentioned. But there was a moment in that game. It was very early on. We played it down the line. I don't know if you've seen it, the movement he made where he went inside.
Yeah.
I think it was something where Gabriel went, and then he went the other way.
Yeah.
He's just so intelligent, man. And then the goal that was scored, he pushed Odegaard, no question about it. Brilliant. He pushed Odegaard out of the way, and the ball obviously came towards him. I know there was a bit of shoveling before that. I honestly, just every time I watch him play, he could be the best we've ever had. And, well, not better than Shearer, but you know what I mean? Literally, though, he is that good. And I agree with you that we're in a position in the way PSR and the way the market is and how good we are, that it's really nice to have a player like that. And I'm not actually worried that we will sell him. Honestly, I'm not, I think we're in a really strong position. He knows how good we are. He's happy here, etc. It's not like the old days where we'll be lying 17th, 16th, and you've got the likes of Arsenal wanting them. I get it, right? We'll probably lose them. But I'm quite confident that, listen, everything's fine and we'll keep them.
So I think it was Anthony Gordon not so long ago that came out and said all these rumours about players leaving Newcastle United. Like, why? Like, why would you want to leave Newcastle when we're doing so well and we're climbing that league and we're taking big jumps in the league at the moment as well? And just look at last night. Yes, people are saying it's 1 foot in the door to a trip to Wembley again. Like that's a big
massive
step.
foot.
It's a huge step.
That's a big show.
Foot.
Aye, big show kind of foot.
Who's the big show?
It's what you said. It's almost like again, tinfoil hat. Like the media don't want it to be successful. Like the Premier League don't want it to be successful. Like I think a lot goes down to how managers, like man management of players as well. Like you've seen sort of reports and articles that have come out from I think it was after the Brentford game where he took everyone into the office and like laid some home truths down, and it's like it's because to look at Howe, and I always think this, that when you look at him on a touchline, you never feel like he looks like he could give players a bollocking, but it's obvious that has happened because everyone's stepped up their game, and obviously when you're winning games and you're flying high, which we're starting to do, you enjoy your football a lot more, and you wouldn't look elsewhere if you're content with where you are. So,
can I ask you both a question? Do you know when we signed him? Did you know much about Isak? Like, did you think he was this type of player, or?
I just knew him from Football Manager that he scored goals, but that's as far as my knowledge went.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. Like I think, like I'm not shy to admit that my football knowledge is basically Premier League. Like when it comes to European football,
I certainly wasn't digging his out there. Please don't think.
Yeah, no, it's few and far between. Obviously, you watch your Champions League game when it's the big teams playing, but never really paid much attention to it. But obviously, as everybody does, when you see the highlight reels come on YouTube of Isak, you're thinking, right, he's a different sort of striker. He's got the pace and he's skillful at the same time. When we haven't had that sort of player for a long time at Newcastle when it comes to strikers. And what I was going to mention is that if you think about after Shearer, there was always a debate about who's the best striker since Shearer. And it was always like some Demba Ba's name getting thrown in there, Remy's name getting thrown in, because Remy was unbelievable as well. But you know what it is? Neither of them, for me, come close to what Isak offers.
Oh, no.
I think there's a big chunk between that, like what we're seeing with Isak. Isak, hands down, is top of that. Like,
I think he's close to. I think Remy's close in terms of how he played, if that makes sense.
Well, there was always comparisons with Remy and Henry as well.
Yeah,
it's an easy comparison, isn't it?
Yeah. And I listen. I don't want to forget Wilson in that. I get everyone's frustrated, but Wilson's been a fabulous player for in long stretches, and I appreciate he's injured all the time, but he has been very important for her. But Isak, to go back to what I mentioned about, I didn't know, honestly, God, I didn't know him, right? And I watched a lot of highlights about him when we were linked with him, and I'm seeing all these highlights, and I'm going, but he looked a bit skinny. Like, is he going to be up for it in this league because it's the best league in the world, etc., etc.? And he looked a bit lightweight. I always used to think he looked lightweight, and what's incredible is nah, like that doesn't matter at all. And the highlight reel that I used to see about him, he's literally doing better than that in the best league in the world. You know what I mean? Which is incredible. And I honestly cannot. I get why everybody would want him. Of course, I understand that, and it is quite amazing actually that we have a player that everybody wants. I will say that it's amazing, but again, yesterday, like, he was just incredible. It wasn't yesterday's game, right? But there was I think it was the Tottenham. I could be wrong actually. It might have been the Tottenham game, if you remember, right? He came quite deep, right? And he got the ball and he turned, blah, blah, blah. And he like sort of drilled a pass. Like, it didn't leave the ground. It like hovered. It almost like, it was like a grass cutter of a drilled pass. And nothing came of the chance, right? And my phone literally blew up and there was all my Macklin mates going, hang on, this guy's the best, like, isn't he? And I was like, he's the best, like, he is. But unbelievable. Love him to bits. Really do love him to bits, like.
Like I've said a couple of times, there's just nobody that replaces him in football at the moment. We're talking about Joe Linton being irreplaceable, but that's because of the player that he is. Like, in that position, you can't do it. But when it comes to Isak, the talent that he has, we mentioned Haaland, and Haaland's name always gets brought up because he scores goals, right? I get it, right? But there's no comparison at all for me. Like completely different players, and I'm telling you now, and I'll say it out loud. I don't care. You can clip it if you want, Man City fans. You're replacing Haaland for Isak all day long.
I'd agree. I think obviously Haaland's goal scorer in Brighton, he's a freak, but that is him relying on a good service. Whereas, like we've sat and said, yeah, Isak can create something out of nothing. Even like go back to his assist. That wasn't an assist against Everton. Haaland's not dancing past 4 Everton players, putting them on their arse and feeding it
constantly, Ian, not just once.
Yeah,
constantly.
It's like you get it, and it's almost like with Deka's mate Maxi, where you get the ball and you're like, right, what's he going to do now? That's similar of when he's out wide and he's picking the ball sort of from the left and cutting inside. He's scoring sort of poachers finishes. The goal he scored against Liverpool absolutely rifled it in the top corner.
Well, just look at the finish last night against Arsenal.
Yeah,
having such a short space of time to receive the ball from, because the ball fumbles to him. Murphy obviously dinks at it, but I think Murphy's trying to control that slightly so he can have a shot away. But obviously rolls to Isak. Isak's got split seconds to think, right, how am I going to get this past the keeper? And Ria does really well. He closes that ball down straight away. But to have the audacity to lift that ball up, and once again, I've said this a couple of times, the ball hitting off the crossbar and going in the back of the goal.
So much better,
best goal you'll ever score. And we've scored about 3 of them in the last handful of games.
He was. I was worried that I'd gone over the bar. Like, does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like, but hey, it's all good. It's all good. But that one against Liverpool, the finish in the roof of the net, was it Liverpool? You said, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, I know it was offside, but my god, that was one of the best finishes I've ever seen. That one, like, it was unbelievable. That finish. It was just such a shame it was offside, obviously.
Oh no, I'm on about the one at home where he turns Van Dijk inside out. And he hits it, it's like 90 mile an hour or something. The 3-3 that we've just was started.
Oh yeah, sorry. So what game was it when he? Oh, it was Man United, man. Sorry, the Man United game.
Yeah, yes.
What a finish that was, man.
Is that always offside? He's smashing the top
corner. By about 12 mile.
And he's still got the audacity to argue that he's onside.
Well. He does that a lot, doesn't he? He does that a lot.
Well, this is what I wanted to mention as well, Deka. Not just Isak, because Gordon falls in this category as well. What I like to see, people might disagree, the lads are not necessarily arguing with each other, but they're getting frustrated with each other for not being better. Even though we're winning games, they're thinking, right, you should have done better in this moment. You should have left that ball for me. You should have passed it at this time. Some of the players call for the ball when you know for fine well they've got Gordon's a great one way. He's not happy wasting. Yeah. But it's good to see that they're in those positions and they think, right, I've read this unbelievably well. Do better. Even though we're still winning games, they still want more and more.
Do you know what? I'm not disagreeing with you, but what I will say is it is all right on the eye when you're winning games. I feel like if you're not winning the games and you see we won a run of 7 defeats or whatever, right? We would then be saying, I see how frustrated they are. He's telling, does that make sense? But I agree with the sentiment you're coming from, is that we're winning games and they're still not happy that they're not getting more goals or whatever it may be. So, yeah.
It's because we're going through spells of game where you look at last night and you're thinking Arsenal probably dominated the first 20 minutes. And I think the game was starting to slightly change in Arsenal's favour then until we got the goal. Then we get the goal and you're done. Like, every time Newcastle score this season, we don't lose. Like, if we score first, we don't lose games. And you're thinking, right, game over, 1-0. Then obviously going up for the second half and you're 2-0 and yes, I'm saying I was nervous. I'm nervous because it's backs against the wall and everybody's going to be like that apart from Deka. But the changes that he's made, and I had a couple of messages from people with Eddie Howe's choices of substitution saying, it's a tough one this because I think it's a 60-odd minute, 60-odd where Isak goes off and you're thinking, right, Gordon's gone up top. Then Miggy comes on, and Miggy clearly runs over everybody.
It's 5.
And you're thinking, shit, I bet this is 20 minutes where we're playing without unrelenting.
Unrelenting.
And you think, if Arsenal get one, because we're already under pressure, you're thinking, if Arsenal get one, then anything can happen. Anything can happen. But that line was so blatant to see that it was just a straight line of 5, then another. Nobody was really closing it down, just thinking you to carry the ball out. Like Tonali did it a couple of times, Joe Linton did it, but we're just picking the moments when they're doing it. But we mentioned before we started recording, Ian, that in-game management from Eddie Howe was second to none. Like a lot of the time we say Eddie Howe didn't have a plan B in certain situations. had about 3 plans last night.
Yeah, that's one thing. Obviously, I was questioning his ability when things were going bad to try and change it, or if he come up with a challenge in a game where the opposition's tweaked it. Is he clever enough to then match it and counteract that? And last night, you seen it. Obviously, we're up front, we're light. We've only got Isak and then Asula. I think it's far too big a game to put Asula in, although he is a body up front. So going to that mean Mike Bassett's 5'0", which I don't think I've ever seen in football. I don't ever. But
you normally say it, Ian, but it's normally like somebody breaks off, like what we've seen with Gordon or Barnes, where they'll just hover a little bit.
But there was literally just 2 banks of 5, and to be honest, like you say, it was you were clearing it and letting Arsenal have it, and I think that's testament to the team of knowing how good they are defensively at the minute and how much confidence they've got as a group. Because they weren't closing the back 4 down when they had it sort of just inside our half.
Even though we're just waiting for the ball to get delivered in the box so they could hit that as hard as it could.
Yeah. Like I say, Dubravka, I think if it has been his last game, he's the format he's picked up in this little run's been terrific. But he's instilled a lot of confidence in the back 4, both sort of from, like we were saying last season, he's sort of the negative of him was he never came off his line, and that made the whole team drop 10, 15 yards, whereas he's done a lot better than he has last season this time. There's a lot more confidence in the back 4. He's better with his feet, which instills a lot of confidence. So, yeah, like I say, it's a testament to the players of how confident they are of, well, you're going to have to try and break it down, because I think that's another, 5 clean sheets and 7. We conceded 2 goals. That was what we're doing when we're finished in the Champions League. So
you have to have a good defence, don't you? To be worth your salt. I know you've got to score goals, of course, but 7 to concede 2 goals in 7 games, and I mean we've played Man United away, we've played Spurs away, we've then played Arsenal. I mean it's really impressive, really impressive. It's as good as it gets, actually, to be quite honest. I just think what I loved about it is a dangerous game. Don't get us wrong, because you've got nobody up front, so when you do clear it, it's just coming straight back. It's dangerous, right? And I understand that. What I did love is that we really did get narrow to pack the midfield, so it made them go out wide, and we almost said, "Go on, then cross it, go on." Yeah. And if you do, we'll win it. Now, there was a moment where we didn't, and how on earth Havertz hasn't at least hit the target? At least
he came close with his shoulder.
It hits off his nose and then onto his shoulder and just balloons.
All I can think of is the deflection off hole, and maybe the floodlights
or
something is thrown him.
He took his eye off the ball, Deka. He took his eye off it.
Yeah. So other than that particular chance, we were great. We were solid. But I understand. Listen, I know I'm saying I wasn't nervous. I wasn't, but I understand why people were, because it was, you're basically saying with 20 minutes to go, you can have all the ball, try and break it down. And traditionally, as a Newcastle United fan, we normally fold in them moments, and we normally do concede later on. That's what we are. Well, we were. So I understand that.
Speaking of the ball, though, that must be to blame for Arsenal's poor result.
Well,
he's a Burke, him, and
I'm going to be honest, right? So you know that I like Arsenal, right? And I say like Arsenal. I'm not let's get this very clear. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Arsenal. What I mean is, do you know when Man United used to win all the time? Man United used to win all the time. And I was like, fuck well. It was always Arsenal that I would be rooting for, because I love the kits, I love the players, etc., right? And then I will say that I was on borderline. You remember when the ball wasn't out, the Willock thing, and
the Willock,
then he was offside, then it was handball.
Yeah.
Then there was a foul.
Right? And Arteta was giving a 10 out afterwards and stuff, and I'm thinking, bit of a dick here, but I'm trying my best not to write. But this is it. This ball carry on. Why can you not just come into a press conference and just say, do you know what it is? We tried our best. We did what we had to do. We had a lot of chances and we wasted them. Credit the opposition. Defended fantastically well, and they took their chances. We'll try our best in the next leg. Good night. Why have you got to start getting involved with the ball?
It's such a strange thing, because it's Arteta that brings this issue about the ball. Then as soon as the likes of the journalist hear him go down, right, we've got you. Then they start asking more questions about the ball, because I think you're going to make a tit of yourself. Yeah, complete tit.
I thought it was an AI video. When the change of the voice and that. When he started talking about the ball, I was like, oh, someone's just made this up. But then obviously, I've seen it everywhere.
Should I tell you what it reminded us of? Can you remember when England got knocked out of the Euros by Croatia and McLaren blamed the pitch?
Oh,
but both teams are playing on the same. Both teams are using the same.
You don't even have to
ball.
look that far back. You just look at Pardew, and Pardew used to come out with these excuses.
Like,
blame the wind, he blamed the length of the grass, he blamed Notting Hill Carnival at one point. We've heard it all before as well, and it's embarrassing from a fan.
I actually seen statistics on BBC. Them have like printed the statistics of shots on target with the Premier League ball, Arsenal this is, sorry, and then the Carabao Cup, and it's the same percentage. It's 52%. So they've had the same amount of, what I mean? It was funny.
This ball, there's a comment in from Peter as well that says the ball is being used in several different leagues across Europe as well. I think have they not came out and released a statement about the ball? I'm sure I've read that. Yeah, I think it was Carabao Cup that came out. I might have been absolutely fooled by somebody rinsing us on social media. But I think they've released a statement about the ball, saying it's the first complaint they've ever had about the ball. Like, I might be completely wrong, and somebody might have proper gone for us here, but I've seen that. So somebody in the comment let us know, because
you imagine the Arsenal players hearing that later on, like on the way back home and that going, he blamed the ball. Like, I just think it's mental, me. It's just absolutely mental.
They can never lose a game on their own merit. It always has to be something.
There's a reason why. And like, I know of course, there's a lot of needle between them and Man City, right? But I honestly think us as a team, us as a club, we are the needle for them, because every time we play them, right, there was time when dark arts came about because of us playing down there, wasting time, etc. We then came up here and all hell broke us up here, right, when the ball wasn't out and all the rest of it. It's funny, isn't it? It is funny that we have but what I will say on all of this is Howe has his number, by the way. I just feel he has his number. Yeah, he does. Which let's hope he does. It's only half time, isn't it? It's only half time. But we're through. Like,
every time we'll come against the likes of Arsenal, we've got to empty honestly, every time we come up against Arsenal, we've got to empty the local river, whether it's the Tyne or the Thames. We've got to empty it just for Arteta's tears, because we're filling that straight back up every single time. Because
funny, like, isn't he?
He's just not gracious in defeat, is he, at all? No. Like you said, Deka, just going, right, fair enough, we got beat. Like, we need to do better. It's half time going in the second leg. We need to do better. We need to prove a point.
Arsenal fans, TV, right? We all joke about, because it's funny, right? Because when they normally lose, they go berserk, right? Even them fans are saying, do you know what it is? They're the best, Newcastle, the best team that have come here all season. Even the fans are saying how well we played. Then you've got your manager blaming the ball. It's just insane, right? It's insane.
I love it. Honestly, I love it like that. We're going to go for another 10 minutes. So if anybody does have any questions, send them in straight away, and we'll go through them.
I do want to say one thing. Did you notice at the end of the game? And to be fair, I seen it, didn't really think of it, and I seen a replay of it, and then thought, I think he's done that. When the final whistle went, it zoomed in towards sort of like Howe and Tindall. Did you see Tindall? Like, Tindall was about to react, and Howe went, whoa. Like, he is a different animal, Howe. Like,
what do you mean about to react as a celebrate a whistle?
Yeah, Tindall wanted to give it, which is fine, by the way. Like, we all did it, right? But Howe was in that moment. Obviously, did want to.
He's coming straight away saying, did anybody see at the end Howe telling Tindall to calm down?
Yeah. That, honest to God, that is honestly, he's right. Because I only noticed it after the game when I seen the replay. Tindall goes to fist pump and Howe immediately goes, whoa. Like, he puts his hand down and he claps, he high fives him. But Howe's so calm and reserved. And I just thought, you're just a different touch of class. Just a different animal, him. Like, he's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I thought it was amazing.
Let's talk about the second leg, because, like I said, I feel as if we've jumped 2 foot into the second
leg. Tottenham scored, by the way. Tottenham have scored.
I've seen,
is it 1-0 Tottenham?
Yeah, the score earlier on, they had ruled off offside, but they're actually 1-0 up. At this point of recording, it's 5-10 for those that are listening back.
5 minutes to go.
There's only about 5 minutes to go. I can't remember what I was going to say now.
the second leg.
So sorry.
Oh, the second leg, yes. So second leg. People are saying let's not get too confident. Blah blah blah. We're all in this group, in the WhatsApp group. We're all confident enough to book trains and hotels and flights and everything. Already there. I've got the engine running. Me. It's one of those moments where you're thinking, it couldn't have gone better. Like, it couldn't have gone better last night. Going in with a clean sheet as well. Going to St. James's Park. No, Arsenal just don't handle St. James's Park well. Haven't done for a number of years now. yes, we're always going to be bookies' favourites, but you've always got that worry, Deka, of Dr. Newcastle showing back up, and it's anybody's game to lose. We mentioned this, Ian, before we started recording, that one goal changes that.
Yeah.
So if Newcastle score at St. James's Park 3-0 up,
I
you
think
are
that's-
laughing. Game over. Bury
If
them.
it's the other way
full-time
on,
whistle.
though.
The other way,
Yeah.
fans might get a bit nervous at that point.
I'm going to be honest, right? So I think, listen, in my opinion, we're through, right? We're not going to get 3-0. Right? That's how I feel. But what I will honestly say, and I said this today to a few people, I am a bit disappointed that the second leg is so far away. It's the 5th of February. I could be wrong.
Literally, 5th of Feb. Literally a month away.
Yeah, I'm not. That's the only thing I will say is that because we're in red hot form. If it was next Tuesday, you know what I mean? Because it could be a week later. That would be amazing. That's the only slight problem because you don't know about form, injuries, suspensions, or whatever may happen. But being honest, even if I'd have won 2-0 at home and the second leg was down there, you know, I would still have reservations.
5-5, 5-5-0,
5-5-0 for 90 minutes, etc., etc. But no, listen. I said on Monday, and I think a lot of people agreed, if we can scrape a draw or even be in
1-0 deficit.
1-0 deficit.
That's a positive result.
We'll do them at home. We're going back with a 2-0 lead, so we have to be, confident, right? We'll be fine.
I think as well, just to touch on your point there, Deka, about obviously it is like a month away. I think we have 4 games, maybe. I think Arsenal have 7.
I think we've got 5. And they've got 7.
Is it 5?
They've got 2 Champions League games.
Yeah, two Champions League games.
And I think they play, I might be wrong, but I think they play Man City about 3 days before.
Oof.
Wow. And they've got, I know Man United aren't really a challenge these days, but still a big Premier League team to go on Sunday as well. So
I'm sure they play Man City the game before us, and it's on the weekend, so it's like 3 or 4 days before our fixture.
Yeah.
Which makes you think, like, I know, right, the Carabao Cup to us, the League Cup is huge because we just want a bit of silverware. Is it that big for Arsenal compared to the other things which they're chasing this season? Might it come to that point where they've got that Man City game and think, 2-0 down, St. James's Park, do we go full strength, or do we just try our luck by dropping a couple of key players? You just never know with Arsenal. You just don't know because this competition isn't big for them.
I'm going to disagree on that one because the questions labelled towards Arteta is, yes, you've challenged City at the top, coming second and stuff, but you haven't won anything. I know they won the FA Cup way back when. To me, you've got to win something like that's the bottom line. And I think when you get, I'll agree with the part a little bit. When you play in the first round here, or the third round, the fourth round, that might be the mentality of, we've got bigger fish to fry. When you are getting to the semi-finals of competitions here, it's showtime. Like,
will the Arsenal fans appreciate winning that though? Or is it like so when Man U win it and they think, it's Carabao Cup? Like you kind of get mocked, don't you, when you're a big team for winning
it, yeah. But then again,
it's a trophy though, and their fans are questioning Arteta, going, "Are we ever going to win silverware?" So it can't be that privileged that you have to choose what silverware you can win and you can't, right?
These teams are, Deka. I think that's the issue. I think the fans will be like, yes, we'll want them to win something for silverware, but they'll turn around and it'll always be, but it was only the Carabao Cup. That's what I think they'll look at it.
What I will say on the back of that, we do have players within our ranks that know how much it means. And listen, people could point back and go, well, they knew in the FA Cup fight, the Carabao Cup a few years ago, they didn't win. I get that, right? It happens, it's football. But our lads especially know. Look at Bruno running around the house with his son.
Unbelievable.
The players, they know. And I also wanted to mention something, and I am going a bit off topic here. Did anyone see Trippier? It was quite late on in the game on the sideline, and he was, hey man, he was like a second manager. He was like, no, up, come here, get there. That's what I love about, like when a team is so together. You've got Trippier who, Trippier wants to be playing. It was only the Tottenham game, I think it was, when he come off injured and he wasn't happy. Or was it maybe the Man United game? I could be wrong, sorry. Yeah, and you could see the frustration, that immediate frustration, like, fuck, I didn't want to come off. But he dealt with it fine, armband, whatever. But it's amazing to see him that he probably knows his days are numbered, right? And he's not going to be here very much longer. He was on that sideline warming up, but he was giving advice to the back four, like, come on, do this, do that. It's just amazing that, like, and that's what Howe is built. He's built players that are together, this togetherness, that they care about the club and the team and stuff. It's just amazing, like unbelievable.
Actually, just love to see it, man. Absolutely love to see it. Do you have anything you want to add before we're calling night tonight?
Ian, mate, I've said my 2 bits was Tindall celebrating and Trippier. That was the 2 bits on. Oh, sorry, of course, Dubravka. That was quite sad, mate. That was quite sad. That it was. Yeah, he knew. You know.
It's nice to like. I would say, I think I've seen in the group chat, like obviously it soured a little bit when he went to Man U and then came back. Obviously, was cup tied for the cup final. Came back when Pope was injured last season. Didn't cover himself in glory. I'm glad he's if he is to go, he's going out on magnificent form, and that was sort of it reminded us of the keeper where his debut against Man U, where you think he's a good keeper. Him, like we've got him from a steal, and it's nice just to see him recapture form, because I don't think he's been a bad goalkeeper at all.
Far from it, Ian.
He's made mistakes, but every goalkeeper makes mistakes, and it just so happens they're the ones that are most likely to get punished for their mistakes. It
really frustrated me last season. I think I might be one of the only ones that was defending Dubravka as much as I possibly could throughout that spell where Pope was injured and Dubravka was in, because I think a lot of people forgot what Dubravka was like for us prior to that period. And in that period, I think he got scapegoated a lot by saying, the defense aren't confident, blah, 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 blah. Well, I got it to a certain point. He wasn't confident coming off his line to a certain degree. But that defense was changing as well in front of him. And you're thinking, nah, like, you're not blaming every goal we concede for Dubravka. And I think I love the fact that, yes, it looks like he's on his way out now. Like I mentioned, he had tears in his eyes when the cameras panned him last night. And he spent a little bit more time.
It was like a prolonged,
field. Yeah, he stayed out there. And you think, right, he knows. Obviously, we're seeing today that pre-contracts are agreed to the club that he's going to in Saudi Arabia. It's Al-Shabaab or something like that he's going to. Yeah, he's going there. And you're thinking, right, it's done. We're just waiting for the club to agree that. And I think I'm so glad that's ended this way for him, because it could have went the other way. And I'm really, really happy that it's ended this way. And it's such a shame that if he does go and we do get to the final, he's not there to be a part of that.
He'll get a medal, right?
He's played in the game
because he's played in the game. So
he got one for Man U, didn't he?
Yeah, we had it. I know. I echo everything you've said. Actually, I think it's a little bit like the Wilsons, right, where people forget, right? You forget because you're looking at such a small sample size of performances, and you're like, he's past it, he's this, he's that, he's this, he's whatever. But he has been tremendous when you think of what God, we had poor teams, poor back fours, under pressure for 90 minutes of a game, sitting on your goalkeeper for an hour and a half. You know what I mean? And the poor guy's pulling off saves left, right, and centre, right? He's kept winning games countless times, right? And he did have a bad run, all right? It happens, it's football. I think a lot of people were having a go at me. I don't know if I shared the video of him with tears, and there was a few comments that I got back was like, well, he wasn't crying when he went to Man United. And you're like,
he wanted game time. You thought he was going to get more game time.
Do you know what I mean? And I don't think Dubravka would have wanted to go in that way. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't want to go that way. It's just unfortunate the way your job works and your career goes. It happens, right? But I think that's why he's probably so emotional. He's probably thrilled that it's ended this way. Sad as well that it's leaving, but he's probably also a bit emotional, thinking, "I'm so glad I've had this moment with the fans."
Do you feel a bit sad that it's gone like this, Deka? Because I think we're now at the point now where you're given the option, and I'm not disregarding anything about Nick Pope here, but what we've seen the last games in this streak that we've gone on is that we look so comfortable with Dubravka in goal. I know he hasn't been tested a huge amount, but building up from the back, it's head and shoulders above what it is with Nick Pope. We'll see Nick Pope kick the ball into the stands a lot of the times and panic under the stress and being closed down. Whereas Dubravka, he takes those risks and they tend to pay off as well. And he's quite calm with the ball at his feet. And you think, right, we're just going to build it up from the back again. Yeah, and he's quite good at releasing the ball as well. Picks it up, gone. I just think in a different world right now, if we didn't have to sell because of PSR, we wouldn't even be in the team.
You'd keep him. Like he's a piece that of a puzzle that or a team that are in massive upturn in form. Like you've kept 5 clean sheets in 7. You don't want to be losing a piece of what is getting those results. And I agree with you. I think if it wasn't for PSR, you wouldn't think twice about keeping him, simply for the fact that I do think overall Nick Pope's probably a better goalkeeper than him. But I think this season, in isolation, Dubravka's been better than Pope. I think even when Pope's played, when he's come back from injury, he hasn't looked like the Nick Pope of old. So I personally think it is a little bit of a risk, considering if Pope's not ready if and when Dubravka does go. You've got Vlachodimos, who, yes, is an international goalkeeper, but he hasn't played competitive football for us at all. And it's exactly the same argument people were pushing on the Karius situation a couple of years ago. I think it's a massive.
Well, I hope 45 minutes in a cup game, didn't he?
Like, I hope we don't get another final.
That was John Ruddy.
I hope we don't get another final, and we're in a position where I'm not. The last time we had to draft on a goalkeeper who hadn't kicked the ball or even saved the ball other than training for years, right? I hope we're not in the situation where, say, we'll let Dubravka go. Pope. I'm the only thing I'm worried about. I'm not happy that people are saying, "Oh, Pope will be back in a couple of weeks." You just don't know, right? You don't know in football. He could come back and the hamstring could go again. His shoulder might go again. Who knows, right? And then all of a sudden you've got, Vlachodimos, or you've got old karaoke singer in goal. Is that
Gillespie already?
Both of them.
I don't think Gillespie's registered in the CB team.
Do duets.
One holds the machine and one has the mic.
Islands in the street.
But anyway, I agree though, and I think this is where the annoyance for PSR, I think overall, is here, right? Because we should not be. Eddie Howe said, didn't he, we're doing business decisions, not football decisions. Yeah. Imagine, any of the board or Mitchell knocking on his door going, "Sorry, but you've got to sell the goalkeeper who is currently, as Ian rightfully said there, is part of this piece, part of that back five, if you like, if you call them that, who's conceded 2 goals in 7 games. You've got to lose him, mate." Eddie Howe must be banging the table going, "What the fuck?" You know what I mean? I don't want to be doing that. Now, obviously, what would be interesting, I don't know what you think, do you think if we sell him, we immediately buy someone else? Or do you think literally we are just riding away with what we've got and we just have to get on?
Well, Scott's put the comment in through. We're saying rumours we are going for Liverpool keeper once Dubravka goes. I'm guessing that'll be
Kellerman. Kelleher, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be him. Well, he's a decent keeper, to be fair. He is a decent keeper. It's just, obviously, there's rumours still around about Trafford as well. Is Trafford very similar to Pope, though? He's not hugely confident with his feet from what I've read.
Who, Trafford?
Yeah, compared to Dubravka.
Trafford's unreal with his feet, mate. Unreal.
Is he?
Oh, unreal. Aye, unreal.
But it's his shot stopping that. I remember, which is kind of his job. No, I remember, was it last season? Trafford was being kept out of a poor Burnley side by that Muric, who made 3 howlers in a row. So, but there is obviously a player there. He's playing internationally at his level, under 21s. I think he possibly made that save. It was either the Euros or the World Cup in the final. So he's got big game pedigree. If it is Trafford that comes in, obviously this is just guesswork. I think you're more or less paying for potential, and the likelihood is Pope would maybe see the end of the season, even next season, as number 1, and then there would be that change.
Yeah. And, I'm moving position here, but you look at like Hall, you look at Livramento, Howe has got an eye, because he's part of these discussions, that if he's wanted Trafford, he's looked at Hall and thought there's a player there. And I know some of us, I personally wasn't one of these people, but there was people going, I'm not sure if he's going to be the real deal type of thing. And now, obviously, of course, we're so happy with him. But Trafford in terms of distribution and confidence on the ball is actually ridiculous, really. When all the things I've seen of him, unbelievable. But it's the questions are from crosses, from corners, etc., which is a worry, right?
I love how we can't get both. Like, can I just have both? Like,
yeah, well, you can.
Either got to stop the ball going in the net, or he's going with his feet. Which do you want?
Yeah, I just think the modern game, it's so the feet's winning, right? Like, people want a goalkeeper that can play out from the back, and that's no disrespect to Pope, because when Pope was in his prime, if you like, or coming up to the right, that was not the job. The job was save shots,
shot stopping.
It's just shot stopping. So
it all depends on the team that you're playing for, doesn't it?
It is mad though that Nick Pope is a professional goalkeeper and he kicks a ball like a competition winner. I just find that, like, Even as a goalkeeper, surely you should have the ability to look comfortable to kick a ball. Again, this isn't. Sorry, go on.
6 to 7 days a week, he is training with the ball. He has a ball on him, like so every day of his life. You know what I mean? And it's like, how are you so scared of that ball?
Maybe it's one of those Carabao Cup balls.
Well, it might be. It could be. It might be one of them Carabao. Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
I'm going to end it there.
Tottenham have won, by the way, so 1-0.
Big result.
So it is a big result.
Good result.
Obviously,
they were at home, weren't they?
First leg,
yeah.
Nice moment there. The goalkeeper's just ran in to see his family because he's made his first ever game tonight. The Tottenham goalkeeper, the changed goalkeeper again, by the way. So they've got another.
Oh, is it the new lad that they signed from Prague or something?
I think it is. He's running to see his family, which is lovely. That was nice. But they've got to go to Anfield. But imagine if we got Tottenham, man. Imagine if we got Tottenham. We'll be down London for a week, Kris. We're not coming back.
I'll cancel my wedding.
I just read Deka on going, mate.
Jesus.
Boys, it's been a pleasure. I think it just shows, obviously, it's what, Wednesday night now. We've spoken an hour there about that result. It just shows how huge a result that was. And just, you know what it is? We're talking about performances and how dominant we have been throughout the year, well, the last handful of games on the field. And last night was a different result. It was completely different. We saw some in-game management, which we've been crying out for as well. To go 2-0 up at the Emirates, and then just a shut-up shot and say, break us down because you're not even coming in anywhere near us. It's just, you know what, it's fantastic. And fair play to the lads because we're unbelievable last night. Unbelievable.
You imagine you think of the dog times, right, Kris, where we've been in the Ashley pub right upstairs talking about getting beat at home off whoever, right?
Watford.
Let's say Watford, right? Within a week, it feels like, I could be wrong, it could be 10 days, could be 2 weeks, but it feels within a week, we've beaten Man United away 2-0 and Arsenal away 2-0.
And Spurs 2-1.
And Spurs?
It blows my mind. It blows my mind that we are that good.
Great away record, and it was questioned at the start of the season. Like, just what a turnaround. Obviously, there's question marks over Eddie Howe just not so long ago, a handful of weeks ago. There's question marks over Eddie Howe, and look where we are right now, living the dream, mate. Absolutely living the dream.
I don't know that way.
Both.
It was you.
Both.
No, it wasn't Ian. It was you.
Wasn't me.
I'm joking.
Mark's setting us up for that. Right, boys. Thanks very much for joining us. Those that are watching live, thanks very much. There's almost 150 of you watching there. So, been a pleasure as always. Just like the video, become a subscriber if you're happy to do so. If you do want to give an extra bit back, you can become a member. It is just $2.99 a month to do that. You get extra content. We'll be releasing some more content. I think we're going to have to speak about this result and just how big of a win this is for us as well as a football club. A hell of a lot more. We haven't even addressed the question in regards to what happens next week when Fabian Shaw is back as well. We've got a question mark over that. Fabian, Botman, and Dan Burn. Who's going to be your two starting centre backs? It's a huge headache for Eddie Howe. So we might be doing something a little bit to do with that as well. But yeah, thanks, boys. Been a pleasure. What you doing? Deka, say the words again, man.
Well, one, you know.
Get in.
Get in.
Yeah.